Hello, my name is Louise and welcome to the Adventures with Yarn podcast. This is my YouTube podcast where I talk mainly about knitting and crochet and yarn and maybe whatever else I happen to be obsessed with. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. I try to put a new episode up every Monday, and I really appreciate hearing from you guys, seeing the comments below. It's a lot of fun. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Adventures with Yarn. You can find me on Facebook at Adventures with Yarn. If you would like to find me on Ravelry, my page is a work in progress, but my Ravelry username is Adventure with Yarn. Just one Adventure with Yarn is all I had room for. All right, so I hope you guys have all had a good week. I know that this week for me, at least my work week, really felt like I was working for the weekend. Like, I'm super stoked about the two major projects that I've been knitting on, and they just are so exciting that I just like couldn't wait for the weekend, which I work Saturdays, so my weekend starts on Sundays, but couldn't wait for it to start so I could get to knitting even more. So let me show you. So this week I have some more progress on the sweater that I have been knitting. This is the Basic Raglan Pullover by Joji Locatelli. And if you remember from last week I was just about to divide for the sleeves. And now I have divided for the sleeves and even knit a bit further. So this is the stitch marker from last week. You can see this is all the progress I've made since last week, several inches. I divided for the sleeves and put them on some waste yarn. So those are here being held for later. And then you can see I've started knitting under the arms. I'm supposed to knit about 4 inches under the arms. I am at 2 3/4, so almost 3 inches right there. Once we get to 4 inches here, we're going to start decreasing for the waist shaping. Which I'm kind of unsure if I want to do waist decreases. I've been looking at the pattern page on Ravelry for this sweater, and there are a lot of people who don't use the decreases in the waist. I'm not sure if that will like turn out to be a better fit, like a looser fit, or if it would just end up making the whole thing too boxy. The jury's still out. I'm still deciding. I'm not quite sure which I want to do. But I have also been thinking some more about this sweater. And that is this spot here on this sweater. So basically this sweater is made out of some hand-dyed yarn by Amy Florence. It is her colorway Midnight Sun in what I have found out is pronounced Blue Leicester faced wool. I think that's the sheep. I think those are the sheep. The blue. I wanted to say Leicester, but I was informed it's pronounced Leicester. So some British sheep wool is what this yarn is made out of. And it is hand-dyed. So with hand-dyed yarn, it is recommended that you alternate skeins because of it being hand-dyed, it could potentially have little nuances and little differences in the tones and the colors. And you don't want to end up with like large blocks of different colors where it's obvious that the color has changed. So I was alternating skeins, and I was just straight up alternating. I wasn't worried about the seam. And little did I know that I should have been worried about the seam. So I have this blemish on the front, like the front breast of my sweater. And last week I was thinking, I was like, you know, I'm just not gonna worry about it. It's not that noticeable. It'll just be okay. Basically, I changed my technique after here. Once I noticed that this was actually like really noticeable, I decided to look up the jogless seam by Babel's Traveling Yarn, and it was life-changing. I guess I was just too lazy to look it up, but then I did, and I'm really glad that I did. I wish I would have done it from the start. It's so easy, you guys. Oh my gosh. It is literally just slipping 3 stitches. Like you knit 1 round, and then you change to your other ball of yarn. So like I have 2 balls of yarn that I'm knitting from, and one's smaller than the other, by the way, because I figured I could start with 1 ball of yarn to go so far, and like about halfway through that ball of yarn, then I switch to the other one, and in that way I won't have to like go from 2 alternating balls of yarn to 2 other alternating balls of yarn and potentially have those 2 like that, to have those 2 colors contradict each other and look different. So where was I going with that? Basically, we're talking about helical knitting. That's right. Okay, so helical knitting, you knit until you're ready to change colors. You change colors. But with your second ball of yarn, you don't go all the way up to where you last changed. You stop 3 stitches before the place that you originally changed colors, and you, you know, drop your working yarn, and instead of knitting the next 3 stitches, you just slip them. And I've been slipping purl-wise. I hope that's right, because it's been working out fine. And then you pick up with the previous yarn, and you knit around in that. And then the same thing as before. You don't knit all the way to where your yarn before that was left off. You stop 3 stitches before and slip them. And it's just the easiest thing, and it keeps a little interest, actually. I feel like I'm all over the place today. By the way, I found some of these stoppers to put on my needles, so that way we don't have any more catastrophes while I'm fiddling with this sweater. I don't want any stitches falling off where they shouldn't. But basically, with the helical knitting, you keep your place marker, the start of the round place marker, in the same spot. So the start of your round doesn't move, but the yarns themselves, where they change, where you switch from one ball to the next, does move. So like I said, it does keep some interest. You'll be knitting along, and you not quite be to the end of the round, but oh, now it's time to change colors. Okay, switch the yarn, and then you're knitting, oh, now it's the start of the next round. Okay, da 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 da. And so yes, it's super easy technique. I will link to the YouTube tutorial on how to do that. I wish that I had done it from the start, but I had gotten far enough. I didn't want to tear this out, especially in light of it being in the middle of my sleeve increases. I thought that would just be too much of a pain to have to undo and try to pick up and make sure I picked up the right ones, of the right stitch count. So I went ahead and continued on. Figured, well, maybe no one will notice that blemish. Several of you have commented that yes, it is noticeable. I believe even my own dad was like, you know, maybe you could do something about that. So for now, the temporary plan for now is to just keep on knitting. I mean, I've come this far. I'm going to keep on making the whole sweater. And then when we're done, this sweater may have to have like surgery. I may go back and, you know, cut this open and pick up the live stitches and sew them together. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research. I think I'm gonna maybe take this to my local yarn shop, see what someone has to say in person, that maybe a particular someone that has knitted more sweaters than I have in their past. But yeah, so that will be the plan for this. I did actually, between now and last week's filming, I did take this off of the needles. I put it all on a bunch of waste yarn after I divided for the sleeves, and I tried it on, and that was really exhilarating. Like, that was really cool. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm trying on the first sweater I've ever knit for myself ever. Not even just for myself, the first sweater ever that I've just ever knit, period. Trying it on, and you know, it only came so far, but actually, like, it's encouraging. The fit is encouraging. I think it may be a little on the fitted side. I kind of wanted to be sure that it wasn't going to be too tight, but it looks like it is going to fit well so far. We'll continue to see, and it's really exciting, so I'm really stoked about that. Okay, the other project that I've been excited about are the zombie socks in my little project bag here. Last week I showed you the finished sock, which I also still have here, the one finished zombie sock. These are Rose City roller socks, and the yarn is by Lolo Did It. It is the colorway called Radioactive Zombies, and this is a pair of socks that I'm making for my husband Joshua. I knit myself a pair of socks right after Christmas, and I believe of the same merino cashmere nylon, and this stuff is just so soft and buttery. It's so nice on my feet that I need to make my husband a pair as well. So between now and last week's episode, I have cast on the second sock, and this is how this kind of looks kind of funny, but this is where I'm at so far. So we have the top here, and we have the heel and the heel flap. So what is being made now is called the gusset, and I'm working on gusset decreases. So basically, if you can kind of see this, we're now back in the round from the heel flap, which kind of, you start in the round and then kind of end up knitting just the back and then turning it out. So you're knitting the bottom of the heel, and then you pick up the stitches to go back in the round, and then as this goes around, every other row will have a decrease, so it'll kind of make that angle of the sock, which is, you know, yeah, it'd be easier to show on this. So it's, if you can kind of see this right here, this angle right there, those are the decreases that gets us to the point where then we can then knit straight across the foot. So that's where I'm at. Okay, I didn't show you guys this last week, and I told you that this podcast is about knitting and crochet and my obsessions. Yeah, I tend to get a little obsessed. I am obsessed with Pitter Patter Polymer stitch markers. I just am. They're so stinking cute. The little ones of foodstuffs that she makes, I mean, they are freaking adorable. And I saw this one and I couldn't help myself. It's boba tea. It's a little pink boba tea stitch marker. Oh my gosh. I mean, really, so stinking cute. If you've never had boba tea, you're missing out. I don't even know for sure what boba tea is made of. I think there's the characteristic thing of boba tea is that it has the boba tapioca balls in it. So these little black specks in real boba tea, they're like this, kind of gummy gelatinous balls in this like smoothie, like a sweet smoothie drink. It's like icy, and so you're like drinking this drink usually with like a really big thick straw, and the straw is like big enough that it can suck up maybe like a boba ball here and there. And it's just, I don't know, it's a texture thing that I'm into. And she Pitter Patter Polymer made this, I think, in like 3 or 4 different colors you could choose from, and one was pink, so of course I had to get the pink one. So yeah, so I'm just enjoying that as my stitch marker for these socks and working my way on these socks. I mentioned last week how much I enjoy that these socks make such like a good portable project. And I mentioned that like they're great for on the go, for driving. Now actually I'm not actually knitting and driving. It's more so the case of that my husband Joshua is driving me while I am knitting, so don't worry. There is no knitting whilst driving involved. But you know what's really nice is that all the stuff I need to knit these socks just fits right in this bag. I zip up my bag and go, and it's just like a little, it's like the size of like a clutch, like a small, big, I don't know. It's portable and it's wonderful. I, you know, went to meet a friend in a coffee shop, and I knew that with the timing of the other errands I had to run, I was going to be there a little early, so I just brought it and just, you know, knit in the coffee shop while I'm waiting, and, you know, knitting and looking around and checking out what's going around me. So yeah, so the second project that I've been really excited about have been these zombie socks, and I can't wait to finish this. I'm going to try my best. Maybe I'll have it finished by next week's podcast. We'll see. But that'll be fun because I'm already starting to think about the next set of socks that I want to make, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically, those are the 2 projects I've been working on. There has been a 3rd project that I did not work on this week, and that was the amigurumi lobster. I don't know. I think I've just lost steam. Just kind of, I just don't know if I'm just not that into it, I guess. I don't know if it's that, or if it's just that I'm so stoked about the sweater and the socks. Like, I mean, I've knit myself a set of socks, and now I'm making these set of socks. So socks are relatively new. I really like them. The finished product is so rewarding. Like, they're just soft and cozy, and they feel wonderful and beautiful. And I have got myself a lot of different like sock yarns, so I'm super excited to use those from my stash to make socks that I foresee in the future being on my feet. That's really exciting. And then the sweater, I mean, it's a sweater, and I've never knit a whole sweater. I mean, I've knit baby sweaters, so to have something else that I can wear, so they are both pretty intensive, exciting projects. So that could be, you know, kind of like stealing some of the thunder from the amigurumi lobster. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with how I feel, and you know, maybe I'll pick up the lobster again later. I don't know. I mean, I definitely like to have something crochet, a crochet project going along too, in between and during knitting projects. If my hands start hurting while I'm knitting, and then I can just start crocheting. It's a different, you know, it's a different technique, and I'm much faster at crocheting too. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But in light of not showing you the lobster this week, I decided to grab some amigurumi that I've made in the past. So this is what I wanted to show you. I've made this in the past. This might sound kind of funny, but yes, I made this in anticipation of having it for a baby in the future. Basically, I got this book I don't remember if I bought this. I must have bought this. I bet that I bought this from Powell's, which is, I think it might be like one of the largest new and used bookstores in America. It's in Portland, here in Oregon, which is where I live. And I found this somewhere. I'm pretty sure I found this at Powell's. Zoomagurumi. And I've seen this monkey like on Pinterest and stuff, and so when I saw the book, I'm like, I need that. I need it. So when I was looking through this, what stood out to me was that little duck. So Zoomagurumi, let's see who wrote this. Compiled with care by amigurumipatterns.net. It looks like published by Meteor Books. So it's interesting that I don't see like a name. But that's that. And this little duck was in there, and I just thought it was really cute. And I for sure have like this yarn in my stash. Just some bargain yarn, worsted weight, some nice soft baby colors. I thought this duck was really cute. And you know, of course, all the pieces, you know, were crocheted and stuffed with filling and then kind of sewn together. I remember the legs are kind of hard. It's kind of hard to sew things on and have things be like symmetrical. And then made the hat, sewed that on, made his little bandana cape, and then kind of tied that on. I remember thinking, should I like secure it to him? But I think I must have decided to secure it to itself. So I like just made a little knot and secured that to itself. So this still can kind of move around a bit. But yeah, he's just like this little sailor duck. We got some safety eyes here. So yeah, he's just kind of been hanging out in the place where some finished patterns, some finished projects hang out in my house that I have saved for future times, future babies. So yeah, not everything that I make gets given away every time, most times, but sometimes I keep stuff for myself. So this is one of them. Thought I would show you this in lieu of showing you the lobster that I've not made any progress on at all since last week. So that's that. Okay, so I have told you guys about my yarn diet that I'm on. Basically, there really did come a point last calendar year. I started buying luxury yarn when I hadn't really before, and I just went nuts. I think my mentality was kind of similar to when I would go and buy what you could call bargain yarn, like yarn at Joann Fabrics or Michael's or Hobby Lobby, where in my mind I'm thinking, you know, okay, I can have this much yarn and know it's not going to break my bank, you know, too much. But yeah, I spent so much money on luxury yarns that when the calendar year changed, I told myself and my husband, I'm not going to spend any more money on yarn. I'm going to use what I have and use from my stash. But, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm still human. So when it comes to people giving me yarn, I'm not gonna say no. I'm just not. So anyways, I had a birthday several weeks ago, and some of my birthday money was put towards yarn. And I guess you could say that that means I did spend money on yarn, but we're not gonna count that. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Don't worry about it. So birthday money went to MadelineTosh.com. Yeah. By the way, in my description of the video, if you are interested in buying yarn from Madeline Tosh, I do have a link that if you follow that link and then buy yarn at Madeline Tosh, you can get 15% off. So there's that. But what I bought for myself with my birthday money is couple skeins of sock yarn. Yes, I am kind of obsessed with making socks. This colorway is called Wink. And how fun is that? I mean, isn't that nuts? We've got this like deep, deep, deep blue with some pinks and some, who even knows, some craziness going on. Yeah. And I believe it's 100%, yes, it is 100% merino wool. So this is some soft stuff. So we have Wink. We also have, now this one's fun. This is a little weird, but this is called mac and cheese. Can you believe this? I mean, wow. Check that out. Is that not just like this cheesy, orangey yellow color, and it's kind of like tonal with different hues here and there. So this is also 100% merino wool in fingering weight to make socks. I figured, why not make some socks that look like macaroni and cheese? They have the colorway for it. Let's do it. So then I started thinking about these macaroni and cheese socks in the foreseeable future. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I had like a blue that could go with this to make it kind of look like Kraft macaroni and cheese? So this blue is not perfect. It's not like Kraft macaroni and cheese blue, but it's kind of similar. And this is the Nassau blue that, Nassau, I know I'm not pronouncing it right. But this is Madeline Tosh yarn also that I had I've used in the past. And actually, as you can see to my embarrassment, yes, this is, you know, rolled up in a ball because I do not have a winder. I am still in the dark ages rolling up yarn by hand. Maybe someday I will pony up the money to buy an actual yarn winder. But in the meantime, a ball of yarn works just fine. So I figure that I will maybe do heels and toes in this blue and the rest in this mac and cheese. And I will have mac and cheese socks. So yeah, tell me what you think about that, because I think that sounds like a lot of fun. The other thing that I got, because of course I had to spend like all my birthday money. So basically I had like $50 to spend, and which got me these 2 skeins and a mini skein. I think they call these unicorn tails. So this color, don't be distracted by the dark green. Because that just holds things in place. But this color is called Fragile, and I kind of like that. It's very subtle. It's got these just really subtle little colors. Maybe you can kind of see. I hope the light's kind of blowing it out. But just kind of like light pastel greens and kind of a creamy, orangey pink, pale. So I don't know like what this would look good with, if this would, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with this. I just knew that I kind of wanted to do something with this. The colorway intrigued me. Fragile, it looks kind of fragile, subtle, and when I was spending the birthday money, I had just enough to spend just a little bit more on a little unicorn tail. This was like $6. So how could I say no? Had to add that on it. So I got it. So that was my little birthday haul from Madeline Tosh. Okay, well, I've been thinking about the next set of socks. The macaroni and cheese socks, definitely fun. Definitely want to do that next. But I feel like with the zombie socks that I'm making right now, that I kind of maybe at least want to alternate between weird and lovely. So we've got our weird, fun zombie socks on the needles right now. So we'll save the macaroni socks for a little bit later. I think that I want to return to some lovely sock yarn. this I have shown you guys before. I bought this as part of that splurge I was talking about earlier, when I ended up spending so much money on yarn. And one of the places that I spent money was on Amy Florence's Stranded Dye Works. And so this is the colorway. Now it looks like it's nougat, and it's spelt the same way as the nougat, like in a candy bar, but I could have sworn when I saw her show it on her podcast that she said nougat. Who knows? But just this really lovely white with pinks, a little bit of brownish speckles here and there going on. I just think this is just a lovely, subtly beautiful color. And I think that I will make my next set of socks out of this. So that is my plan. This is merino cashmere nylon sock. And in fingering weight, I do believe. Yes, in fingering weight. Something else I did get for my birthday was this book, Custom Socks by Kate Atherley. I don't know that I have... I don't feel like I've made enough socks to like have really figured out the kinks that I need to work out yet, I guess. So I don't quite think I can quite utilize some of like the customization of the socks that are in here, but I will for sure utilize like the patterns in here. And so I'm thinking that this book is just awesome. And I will take anything that I can get in regards to knitting and crochet and patterns, and especially socks, since I am now just loving hand knit socks. So I'm super stoked to have this. I'll be looking through this some more, picking out a pattern to make eventually. Okay, well, I think that I have gabbed on enough. I really appreciate that you guys are tuning in and watching this. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to subscribe, if you want to be notified every time that I make a new episode, then not only should you subscribe, but hit the little bell icon next to the subscription button, and that way you can be notified of when exactly each episode comes out. And like I said, I try to post episodes every Monday. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have a good week. Feel free to comment. I love hearing from you guys. Alright, craft on, have fun, love one another, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!